In the summer of 2019, the New York Knicks were expected to not only get the number 1 overall pick, but to make a huge splash in free agency as well. Unfortunately for Knicks fans, their team fell to number 3 in the draft lottery, and they weren't able to sign Kyrie or Kevin Durant either. Although things didn't go as planned for New York, they still had a bunch of cap space and decided to use it. They signed a number of veterans including Marcus Morris, Elfrid Payton, and Reggie Bullock, but the biggest contract they handed out that summer was to Julius Randle. Being that Randle was the Knicks' biggest free agent acquisition in an offseason where they were expected to bring in 2 superstars, there was pressure on him to at least perform at or near an all-star level. As we know, Randle did not meet those expectations during his first season in New York, and the team finished 24 games below 500. However, things have changed this year, as the Knicks are currently in the Eastern Conference playoff hunt, and Randle's play is arguably the main reason why. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you why Julius Randle is this year's most improved player. Before we get into it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. With all of that being said, let's talk about Julius Randle. In order to understand how much Randle has improved this year, we first need to look back at the player he was prior to this season. For the first 6 years of his career, the scouting report on Randle was that he liked to go left and that he was looking to score in the paint. Occasionally, Julius would try and keep the defense honest by taking a pull-up mid-range or 3-point shot, but defenses were willing to live with that. Before this season, the best 3-point percentage Randle shot for a season was only 34.4%. On shots from 16 feet to the 3-point line, the highest percentage Randle made was just 35.8%. On top of that, Randle's career best from the free throw line was 73.3%, so as you can see, he was a below average scorer from anywhere outside of the paint. This season has been a different story though. In 2020-21, Randle has shot career high percentages from 3, from 16 feet to the 3-point line, and at the free throw line. Additionally, he is shooting 44.9% from 10 to 16 feet on high volume, which is further evidence that Randle has become a great 3-level scorer. In a recent game against Dallas, Randle dropped 44 points and he really showed off his improved scoring ability. He was hitting threes, making pull-up and step-back mid-range shots, and taking his defender off the dribble when they played him too tightly. The Knicks have not been a great offensive team this year, but having a guy like Randle that can score from almost anywhere on the floor really makes up for any deficiencies that they have on offense. So now that Randle has turned into a much more well-rounded scorer, it should come as no surprise that he's averaging a career best 23.7 points per game this year. Speaking of career highs, Julius is also averaging 6.1 assists per game, which is over 2 more than his previous career high. Before this season, the knock on Randle was that he had tunnel vision. There were a lot of moments where he'd make a nice pass, but for every good pass, Randle would turn the ball over or miss an open man because he didn't have his head up. However, Randle has taken strides as a playmaker this year as he's become better at recognizing the open man and making smarter basketball plays overall. He's still not perfect, he does have his moments where he forces a pass that isn't there, or dribbles into traffic when someone is open, but he's not making those mistakes quite as often as he used to. On the screen is a chart I made that helps put things into perspective. As you can see, the chart shows Randle's assist percentage, turnover percentage, and usage percentage for each year of his career. As he's become more established in the league, Randle's usage percentage has gradually increased, which makes sense. Moving on, you'll notice that his turnover percentage has remained pretty similar throughout his career, so no major changes there either. But when you look at Randle's assist percentage, you'll see that it's taken a massive spike this season. In previous years, Randle's assist percentage has been almost equivalent with his turnover percentage, but this year has been different. You can't argue that he's simply had more opportunities either, because if you look at his usage percentage, you'll see that it's not much higher than it's been the past few seasons. What you're starting to recognize is that Randle has become a much more well-rounded player on the offensive end, and as a result, he's very difficult to stop. He can hurt you from 3, can score in the mid-range, he can take you off the bounce if you play him too tightly, and if you foul him, he'll knock down his free throws. But you also can't throw a double team at him or provide excessive help defense, because now Randle is better at finding the open man. He's a handful on the offensive end, but what solidifies Randle as my most improved player is the steps he's taken on the defensive end as well. Throughout his career, Randle has always had a lot of defensive ability, but this season he's been a lot more consistent. Now, I could bring up a bunch of advanced stats that show that Randle has improved on the defensive end, but I don't think that that would really explain why he's better on that end of the floor. About 2 months ago, Julius Randle said in an interview that he felt like he let the Knicks down last year, and that his focus for this season was to come in and be a better player and a better teammate. As I touched on at the start of the video, there was a lot of pressure on Julius when he came to New York because Knicks fans were expecting to sign Kyrie and KD that summer. In a more recent interview, Randle said that he felt like he had to go out and score 25 to 30 points per game during his first year with the Knicks in order to live up to the hype. However, it seems like Randle has taken some pressure off of himself this season, realizing that you don't just have to be a scorer to live up to a contract. This year, Randle has embraced a leadership role, and that's been most evident to me on the defensive side of the ball. As a leader, you have to lead by example, and Randle has done that by not taking plays off on the defensive end. You have to give a lot of credit to Tom Thibodeau for getting the most out of his players and implementing the defensive system that he has, but you also have to give credit to an individual for buying in and caring just as much about defense as he does offense. Randle has been putting in the effort on the defensive end, and he's gone from an inconsistent defender with a ton of defensive potential to a guy that is tapping into that potential and becoming a really good defensive player. To sum it all up, Julius Randle is my most improved player because he's not only redefined his offensive game, but he's also become a more disciplined basketball player, patched up the holes in his game, and become a better leader. I think that guys like Jeremy Grant, Christian Wood, Michael Porter, Jaylen Brown, and many others should be given praise for their development this year, but it's Julius Randle who should walk away with the award. At just 26 years old, Randle has blossomed into the star that many people expected him to be, and we should all be looking forward to what he does in the future. That's all for today's video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments who you have winning the Most Improved Player award. And with all of that being said, I'm out.